I feel like I'm already in hell. When I think about every single day, and when I think about how there's just this like natural pull on my life, what feels like gravity, I can't help but consider that I might already be in hell. I had a dream a few days ago, and it came to me right before I had essentially had this conversation with myself when I was awake, and it came from reading the Bible. I was reading the Bible, and I was very curious about just the different stories and just like the wisdom that's in that book. And it got me thinking, I lucid dream so often, why don't I try to conjure God? So I tried to conjure God in my dreams, and what came up was not what I expected. And before I had fallen asleep, I was asking myself, like, well, what if I don't like what God has to say to me? And fell asleep, was having this very interesting dream, and I ended up in an elevator, and the elevator was going up very quickly. And I remember having a moment of, am I going up to see God? And right as I thought that, the elevator disappears, I see the earth essentially just up in flames, go up in flames. And I see this man with like this very like evil look, to put it quite frankly. And this man tells me, it was really scary. This man tells me that the world is controlled by the devil. And I remember being so afraid about that. And I remember that when I woke up, I was so afraid because right after I got that message, I had a bunch of like sleep paralysis. And sleep paralysis is very scary. And it kept happening over and over and over. I kept waking up from my dreams to realize that I was in another dream, and just more sleep paralysis. Um, and as I was digesting this dream over the next few days, I asked myself, well, why do I feel so afraid of that answer? I've come to realize that my dreams have given me a lot of messages, and it's not that they are this secret power that I have, that they tell me things that others don't know, but it tells me things about myself that I am learning about myself. And so I was like navigating this feeling. What am I feeling? And it was just this fear. And I've been having many profound conversations with myself of reality and why I might want to continue being here with a sense of purpose. And not just for the sake of living, but I really want to be here and have a strong why. And a lot of what my fear is that holds me back from that is like this nightmare thought of, well, what if I'm being used? What if being alive and chasing my dream and doing it a certain way is just someone's manipulation of me, the devil's manipulation of me. And on top of that, reality is obviously very challenging. It feels like there's this natural sense of challenge that arises on a regular basis, and the blessings are great. The blessings are almost they almost like require a certain level of translation. If you practice gratitude, you know what I'm talking about. And if you practice gratitude really strongly, you'll find more of that gratitude. But it just really surprises me, and I've been stuck on this thought of how easy it is to be angry, or how easy it is to kind of like experience pain. And so it brings me back to this thought of like, what if I'm already in hell? And what I'm now realizing about myself, that I'm having this conversation so openly, is that it's not like hell is this permanent place, because we can swing back from hell and heaven with our mind, but it does bring this certain level of understanding of the work required to rise up to heaven on a daily basis. And so I say that obviously, I thought it was a good title. I'm a marketer, so I'm like trying to get, people's attentions because I'm so curious about what y'all might think about this conversation. But I also say it because there is this truth to the title. What if I'm already in hell, and what if we're all in hell? And if we take that conversation, front facing, we can see things for what they are, and we can understand that there is a certain level of work required to rise up and rise above. And I've been pondering on this quite a lot. I've been writing down the things that are important to me, and I've been trying to go inward and understand what are the things that help me rise up. And so I wanted to share this with you guys, and this is the purpose of this video. So thank you for coming to my channel. If you're new, thank you for visiting. Consider subscribing. That's how we can stay in touch and I can continue to reach you. And if you're already a subscriber or someone that already knows me, welcome back. So this conversation for me is a conversation of self-mastery. And I ask myself, well, what are the three areas of my life that I feel help me rise above? For me, it's mind, body, and spirit. And so I was thinking, I've thought about this in the past. Well, what is the first step? The first step to me is mind. I have to first create a certain level of clarity within my head, a certain level of stability in my present moment where I can neutralize what's going on. I've been reading the book, The Kabbalion. If you're curious about like esoteric things and you're curious about like kind of like these conversations and you want to go back in history and kind of study the text that people have been working on around these types of conversations, The Kabbalion is a great book. The Kabbalion mentions this kind of principle of neutralization. And so I realized that the first step for me is clarity. I have to first neutralize my moment. I can then from that breathe through my body and then through the spirit kind of create this alchemical change and turn whatever's going on into gratitude, which is the spiritual aspect for me. I know that when I can maintain this flow, this clarity, I can build a certain sense of momentum that then allows me to continuously rise above. Something that I've also been thinking about is being more careful with stimulation, because I'm a big fan of video games, for example, and I realize that the more I look for a certain level of stimulation, the more I want it. So I'm being more careful with that. I feel like the pendulum does swing, which is another principle of the Kabbalion. So the more intense of happiness that I seek, the bigger the drop. And so I'm trying to find this flow of just being able to rise above easier. And I think that this is important for many reasons, but it's important for me right now specifically because something that I'm holding on to is fulfillment. I just turned 26. I've matured and achieved a lot of what I considered to be impossible when I was younger. And so now that I'm at this peak, I am now having this opportunity to set my next goals, to set my next whys, to set my next vision. And as I'm doing that, I need a certain level of energy, a certain level of power that could be, compromised if I don't study my stimulation, if I don't study my mental state, if I don't study my physical fitness. Right now, I'm basically working 2 full-time jobs, and it's very, very challenging. And energetically, it's exhausting. It's very tasking. And so as I'm doing many things in my present, and I'm also trying to plan and build for the future, it's something that I'm asking myself, well, how do I set myself up for the highest level of clarity, for the highest level of vision? And I really want it to be special. I've been thinking a lot about how this next year, 2025, is going to be a very big transition point for me. I am, more than ever seeing the path of being location independent being so clear, but I'm also seeing the path of owning land so clearly. But getting there, crossing this bridge, building this bridge, and getting there is so. Uh, it'll require a lot of magic, and so I'm sitting down with myself and I'm asking myself, what do I need to do in order to get there? What do I need to do in order to, first of all, transition my business into 2025? There are certain goals that I have for that as well. That is going to set me up for being the landowner. That is going to set me up for being the manifester that I'm looking to be. Um, I'm having more clients reach the business, which is requiring a certain level of, upgrading fulfillment and scaling our output with staff and whatnot. So a lot of things are happening at once. And it's, again, bringing me back to how do I really fine tune this process of rising above? Something that's also become very clear is the importance of routine, the importance of having a consistent rising and fall for the day. So that for me is very, very important. And again, I think all these things are important to share because I know that a lot of what I'm doing is very, very practical. And so I say this to be a very clear call to action for all of you listening. If you are finding any of this to resonate, take notes, take action. I'm really working towards being an educator of practicality. On top of just being inspiring, I want the things that I share to be very practical. So also as well, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment areas so that I can try and make this a little bit more conversational. And so I'm sure that a lot of you too are asking yourselves, well, how do I make my major transitions, and how do I make my major transitions more practical, and how do I make my major transitions less chaotic, less painful? And that's the conversation that we're having here, is how do we make these leaps out of our day-to-day hells into the heaven that we're looking for? How do we prolong those periods of accomplishment and efficiency so that we can find ourselves in a state of peace, tranquility, prosperity in a more casual and just energy effective way? Again, to be very specific, this conversation is very much so for the people that find it challenging to do these things, because that's where I come from. I come from a world where a lot of the stuff wasn't taught to me, and the people around me didn't really know how to do it. So I had to really self-teach and really self-explain these things to myself. And so when I think about what this could do for the world as well, just think about an entire place, think of an entire world, just think of a community, think of a group of people working together to take, to just uplift each other. That's really just my rant today, to kind of share some vision with you guys, something that I'm building. And again, why I appreciate the support on this channel. Something that I'm building currently is not only the scaling of my business, which if any of you are finding yourselves to be creative, to be problem solvers, to be interested in this digital era that we're leaping into, and you guys want to see what kind of positions we have available, we're very creative at our agency. Feel free to reach out to us at our website, goldenanalyst.com. And just see what's available. We'd love to meet you and kind of see what you're capable of. Something that I'm interested in, and not only owning land this next year and being location independent, traveling, camping, being able to live from a mobile home is something that we're speaking about. But an idea that I have is building a community, building a warehouse, building a temple, if you will, that surrounded this mind, body, spirit conversation. Imagine a warehouse that you could walk into and continuously run into people that are building themselves up and building you up, doing fitness, eating well, reading, recording content, just building themselves up and building the world, and making their environments a better place. That is what I'm reverse engineering here. And so I invite you to be part of this conversation. I appreciate any support given to this channel because of that dream that I have. And as I continue to build myself up, build my team up, build up our customers and the professionals that we serve, a lot of this conversation is of service. And so that is where my vision leads. That's where my dreams lie. And so as I'm navigating and self-mastering myself, I want to share content like this so that y'all can also have that certain self mastery, so that y'all can accomplish and be more effective leaders in your own environment. So really hope that y'all learned something from this video. A lot of my affirmations lately have been, I am becoming fulfilled, and I want to help the things I care about. If you are having moments of doubt, know that the effort you put into yourself is important, because you then get to show up for the things that you care about, and we all have things we care about. So I want to thank everyone for watching this video. I want to remind y'all of y'all greatness, and I want to remind y'all that your dreams are worth sacrificing for. If you don't sacrifice for your dreams become the sacrifice. So thank you again for watching this video. Please leave a like, support this vision, support this team effort that we have here. And if you have any questions, comments, please let me know. If you're curious about our agency and what we could do for you, or if you want to possibly work with us and partner with us, head over to goanomalous.com. And thanks again for watching.